Not even go back on?
In Luke chapter 10, there's a story of the Good Samaritan, and the Good Samaritan pauses to help somebody broken down on the side of the road, and when he does, he demonstrates the love of God that transcends normal barriers, and that's what we think we're doing through this ministry. The tagline for our ministry is loving our neighbors one car at a time. My name is Jeff Philpott, and I'm the senior pastor of Sandhills Community Church, and I'm also the lead mechanic and manager of Good Samaritan Auto Care. So let me tell you about Kelly. So we get a call one day from a woman who says she needs her front brakes fixed. She's gone ahead, she's bought the pads, but she didn't have any other money. When we took off her front tires, not only were her pads bad, but the rotors, which is what the pads compress upon, it was wearing away. There were parts of the rotor that were missing. It was horrible. I was like, oh my goodness. So I went and I spoke with her. I said, Kelly, I said, you can't just put pads on this. You've got to have rotors as well. And she said, well, I can't afford those. So I went to talk to her, but when I was sitting talking to her, I know she had a cast on her arm. And so I said, hey, Kelly, I want to talk to you about your car, but before I do, I said, tell me, why do you have a cast on your arm? And she said, well, I punched a wall. I was like, oh my goodness, why did you punch a wall? And she said, well, because life sucks. And I was like, oh, I said, Kelly, I know why you're here today. And she said, why is that? I said, you're here because God wants me to remind you that He loves you and He sees you. So today, you're going to get all of your work for free. You're not going to have to pay for anything. We're going to change your rotors. We're going to change your pads. We've done a couple other minor fix-ups on your car as well, and we're going to take care of you. It's stuff like that where I love what we do when we can make a legitimate difference in somebody's life, especially those who are struggling to make it, which I feel is a very Jesus-y thing to do. This ministry started, I think, a little over 10 years ago. It initially started as an outreach for single mothers. Actually, I found a representative from Pennzoil. He donated all the oil, and I got a bunch of guys from the church who know how to change oil. But after doing a couple of these, the guys were telling me, and of course I was aware as well, there are many more problems with these cars than just the oil, and they were things that we all know how to do. And so I thought if I started a men's Bible study, we'll do a Bible study for 15, 20 minutes, and then we'll spend the rest of the time working on cars. I'll teach guys basic aspects of working on cars, and then we'll fix somebody's car, whether it's a church member or somebody that doesn't go to the church that we know needs car repair. And that was the start of Good Samaritan Auto Care. When you bless somebody, it opens their eyes and their ears, I think, to the Lord. It's unexpected. We've had so many people come into our church, join the church, be exposed to the gospel, respond, and be baptized, and join the church just through the car ministry, which now we've been doing for several years full time. So it's such a blessing. To be honest, this ministry loses about $10,000 a year. So we're not even just nonprofit, we're negative profit. And so we need donations every year to carry us through. So I got a phone call out of the blue. This guy said, hey, I work with somebody from your church, and I used to be a mechanic with Kia. I'm not anymore. I just wondered if you might like my toolbox. And when I show up, there's this giant, beautiful Matco toolbox, 2-level. And so I was like, oh my gosh, I didn't know you were talking this. He's like, yeah, just take it. I want to donate it to the Lord. And so when I opened the box, it was full of brand names in the tool world. Matco, Snap-on, Cornwell. It was thousands of dollars worth of tools as well. And I was like, are you really just giving this to us? He said, listen, I want to bless people, and I'm not a mechanic anymore, so this is a way I can do that. So, and we've got stories like that about everything in here. Actually, one of them is this lift. There's a guy, he doesn't go to church. He's not a church guy. And so I called him up. I said, listen, I know you're not a church kind of going person, but you mentioned to me you like this ministry, and I just wonder if you'd like to donate to it because we need something for the ministry. And he said, well, what do you need? I said, we need a lift for this new shop that we're building. And he said, well, how much is that? I said, well, it's about $6,500. He's like, okay. He said, yeah, okay, I'll buy it. I was like, you'll pay for the whole thing? I didn't think he would do that. I just wanted him to give towards it. And he said, yeah, I'll buy the whole thing. I'll just send you a check. I was like, you gotta be kidding me. And to me, actually, when I see things lining up, just coming through like that, that to me is just evidence that the hand of God is on it. If God were to allow, if I could get 2 to 3 more bays with lifts, now I need to expand it probably, but 2 to 3 more bays with lifts and a customer waiting room, that would be ideal. And a full-time mechanic or a part-time mechanic, that would be.
It legitimately makes a difference. So even when you're working on your own vehicles, pre-fill your filter if you can. The science behind it is fun.
I've loved working on cars ever since I started doing it. And to think that God would say, oh, I've got a place where you can use that. I mean, it's not only can he use it, he's taken the little bit that I've brought to him and he's multiplied it. And I think that's just a standard for life. Like whatever you have that you bring to the table, however you're wired, whatever the gifts, the things you love doing, I think God's got a way that he can use that to really just transform this world.